Okay, so let's jump right in. There's this hidden cost that's probably affecting your business every single day. And no, it's not something from the tax office. It's more of a silent drain, a drain on your resources, your time, and especially your team's energy. And today, we're going to give it a name.
So let me just ask you straight up. Is your business paying this silent tax? And I'm serious, because this isn't just some rounding error on a spreadsheet. We're talking about a fundamental drag on your ability to grow and, frankly, to compete.
Right? We're calling it the silent tax. And what's so wild about it, and you can see it right here in the definition, is that this is not something your accountant is ever going to flag for you. It doesn't show up on any P&L statement. It's a cost that's created purely by the friction in your day-to-day operations. The way work moves through your business, or maybe more accurately, the way it gets stuck.
And believe me, it shows up in some really painful ways. I'm talking about lost hours, people just chasing down information, duplicated effort because one team has no idea what another team is doing, super slow decisions that always leave you feeling like you're one step behind. And all of this, it leads directly to frustrated customers and, maybe worst of all, burnt out staff. It's just this constant operational drag.
Now, here's the really crucial point. This isn't a sign that your business is broken, not at all. It's actually a sign that your operating model is from a different time. One that relies way too heavily on people to manually bridge all the gaps between a bunch of scattered, disconnected tools. So how do you actually spot this thing? Well, we've put together 9 key warning signs. Think of this next part as a kind of quick diagnostic for your own company. Let's just see how many of these feel a little too familiar, shall we?
All right, first up, warning sign number 1 is probably the one you feel every single day. And that is disconnected systems and scattered data.
Oh man, this is the big one, isn't it? When all your critical information is just trapped, stuck in a dozen different chat threads, random PDFs, endless email chains, you create this constant stream of tiny little delays, finding that one document, re-asking for that one little detail. Each one is like a tiny paper cut. But when you get hundreds of them a day, it's a massive hemorrhage of productivity. And honestly, this clutter right here is the #1 biggest barrier to using AI effectively. Okay, let's move on to warning sign number 2. This one's about a heavy dependence on manual, repetitive work. Does this sound familiar? We are drowning in admin. That is the sound of really talented people spending their days on totally predictable stuff, copy-pasting data, cross-referencing spreadsheets, you know the drill. They're only doing it because the systems just aren't built to do it for them. The third symptom, this one hits leadership especially hard. Slow decisions and reactive behavior. I mean, it's simple. When your data is scattered all over the place, you can't see what's actually happening in real time. And this forces everybody into a reactive mode, where you're just constantly fighting fires instead of getting ahead of them. You're working incredibly hard just to stay in the exact same place. Number 4 on our list, this is a huge and often totally invisible risk. And it's that your processes rely on people remembering things. Think about it. When the most important knowledge only lives inside the heads of a few key people, you've basically created a human bottleneck. So if that one person is sick, goes on vacation, or heaven forbid, leaves, the entire process just grinds to a halt. Okay, number 5 is a subtle one. It's like a ghost from a past era hanging around your office. Paper trails and old workflow habits. You see this all the time, even in businesses that are fully digital. People are still printing things just to scan them. Or they're caught in these endless email chains just for a simple approval. These old habits create friction that modern automation just can't get past. Now, let's talk about AI itself for a second. The 6th warning sign is having a bunch of isolated experiments instead of a real AI strategy. Look, trying out a cool new AI tool is fun, it's great, but without a real plan to integrate it into your core systems, these little pilot projects, they never really scale. So you get these small pockets of excitement, but no real fundamental change to the way you operate. The 7th sign is all about how this tax makes your team feel. And this slide just nails it, doesn't it? Your people are putting in this incredibly high effort. They're constantly switching context, chasing updates, fighting backlogs. But for all that work, they're seeing low progress. They feel busy, but not productive. And that mismatch right there is a direct path to stress and burnout. All right, at number 8, we see how this tax hits the people who matter most. Your customer service just can't keep up. As you grow, you're faced with this really costly choice. Either you hire more people, which eats into your margin, or you accept slower response times, which hurts customer loyalty. It's a classic catch-22 caused by a system that isn't automated.
And finally, the ninth sign. This one is a feeling that I know a lot of leaders are having right now. It's the feeling that you want to use AI, but you're just not ready for it. You know your data's a mess. You know the processes are all tangled up. There's just no clean foundation for an AI to even begin its work. So you feel stuck on the sidelines while everyone else moves forward.
So, you've seen the signs. But here's the kicker. This problem isn't static. It doesn't stay the same. The silent tax actually compounds over time. The more your business grows, the heavier this tax gets. It creates a vicious negative feedback loop. More customers means more admin. More admin means more complexity. And eventually, that operational load, that silent tax, it actually starts growing faster than your revenue does. And that is the trap. Your business gets bigger, sure, but your actual capacity to handle that growth starts to shrink. It becomes harder to run the business, not easier. Okay, so that was the diagnosis. It sounds a little grim, I know, but it is definitely not a life sentence. So now let's totally shift gears and talk about the cure. Let's take a look at what the future could actually hold for a business that figures out how to eliminate this tax. If any of those 9 signs felt even a little bit familiar, I bet you're asking this exact question. What does life even look like on the other side? And it's not about robot receptionists or some kind of futuristic fantasy. It's really about a fundamental shift in how your entire business operates. It all boils down to this one single powerful idea. AI-enabled organizations, they break that negative feedback loop. They scale without adding weight. Now, what does that mean? It means your capacity to serve more customers can grow exponentially while your costs don't. Your team is finally freed from all that draining manual work so they can focus on innovation, on client relationships. You start making decisions proactively based on clear data. Your business becomes easier to run as you grow, not harder. And this isn't just about being more efficient, it's the ultimate competitive advantage.